this is the 2025 safety discount brochure, and we're going to go through it. So this first page within the brochure has the important slide, and a lot of the stuff is from last year, but this first one is new, and really it's good for you. There's one safety verification form combined, ACCG and IRMA. Again, the ACCG safety verification form for ACCG and work comp and IRMA has been combined into one form in 2025. The thing that you really need to know is down at the bottom, and if you don't have this on your calendar, I'm going to tell you to put things on your calendar throughout this webinar, but this is the first thing, and I'm going to repeat it many times, and it's repeated many times within the brochure. The eligibility requirements must be completed between October 1st, 2023 and September 16th, 2024. So we're not doing this on a calendar year. The year that we're looking at is October through September 16th. And those what we'll be looking for. So when you're going to try and provide us proof of doing things, those are the dates that we'll be looking for. That last quarter in 2023, and then the first 3 quarters in 2024. The safety action plan, we've been doing this throughout for many years or for several years. And I'll talk a little bit more how that works in later slides. The GSIWCF, or Workers' Compensation Employee Safety Grant Program, will be, again, you'll be receiving that shortly. But we're going to talk about that grant a little bit later within the presentation also. The Law Enforcement Risk Specialist, this is an initiative we started last year. We'll talk about that. The LGRMS training requirements basically stay the same, but we'll talk about that a little bit more. And then some dates you need to remember, and you can put these on your calendar. Submit a safety action plan by April 1st, important date. Apply for safety discount program, again, between August 1st and September 16th. So you might be one of those early birds that gets the worm and say, I want to get this safety discount out tomorrow. We don't want it tomorrow. We want it sent to ACCG Insurance at ACCG.org on between August 1st and September 1st. And the reason you can't send it to us on today or tomorrow is because you haven't completed the requirements for those things. You have to complete those quarterly requirements, and we'll talk about those later. And then the next thing is apply for the 2024 Work Comp Employee Safety Grant Program. And again, between May 1st and August 31st, 2024, and you send those applications in to ACCG. The discount program is for both programs, the property and liability work comp, but the safety discount or the safety grant program is only for workers' compensation members. So you're looking for information. This is a great source of information. This is the ACCG.org insurance page, and it provides a lot of different information. So what I have in front of you is within the workers' compensation, the workers' compensation program. It has the safety discount program for that. So it has the booklet for counties and authorities. It's got the sample safety action plan for counties and authorities. It's got the safety discount verification forms, and then it has additional forms, the Workers' Compensation Bill of Rights and the Workers' Compensation Panel of Physicians, which we'll talk about. So if you're looking for resources, this is a place to go. But you also can learn about the Workers' Compensation Program and the history. It has forms and publications within there that you might be able to use. Online resources, so a lot of programs and policies in there. If you want to report a work comp claim, you can do that there. Policy management, the board of trustees, and then all those members that are part of that program. The same thing is true on the IRMA side, or the property and liability side. This is the page for the safety discount on that IRMA side. You can see the safety discount program workbook. As you can see, there's only one workbook because authorities can't use that. The safety action plan is only for counties, not authorities on this. Again, the verification form is only for counties, and then there's a lot of sample policies and other things that we'll talk about within the preceding sides. It also has HR legal services that are great, so this is a great place to get that. Your online resources, you report an IRMA claim, all the other things that we talked about on the work comp page. So before I go to the other slides, anybody else have any questions? We're good to go? Pretty elementary thus far. This is a nice, it's on also within your brochure, just a nice page. I thought I would show it. So what is the reason behind the safety discount program? Well, again, there's multiple reasons. One of the bigger reasons, and what's probably driving a lot of you to do this, is the percentage of discount. So on IRMA, for counties only, you get up to a 5% discount for meeting these requirements. On the work comp or GSI WCF, you can get up to a 7.5% discount. Also on the work comp, you can get the grant. And those are great direct benefits, but ultimately this is a benefit to you because you are doing things to reduce risk within your process and programs. And ultimately that's the real reason to follow these guidelines, to implement policies, to change the culture, to reduce your overall insurance liability, but also the insurance pool's liability. So everybody goes down and everybody can benefit that. So that's ultimately the biggest goal. Again, these are some of the general requirements for both programs, both IRMA, workers' compensation. You have to have a safety coordinator, must be promoted, or must be appointed. Again, really, I would assume you guys have safety coordinators, but I really ask for you to consider this seriously. So I've been told in some situations, the safety coordinator is appointed as the person that has the bad luck to walk by the office when they're making that decision. It really should be the person that's in the safety coordinator position is not the person that's going to do everything safety, but is going to help coordinate that process. They're going to be well organized. They're going to have leadership skills. They're going to be able to influence others because all these initiatives are supposed to go across your entire organization. So within every department, within your sheriff's offices, it's supposed to go across those. So if you don't have somebody with high-level leadership skills appointed to this particular position, they are not going to be effective. They have to be able to talk to people, they have to have influence skills, and they have to have great organization and leadership skills. This safety coordinator needs to attend safety coordinator modules 1, 2, or 3. And again, the expectation is you don't have to take, if you're a brand new safety coordinator, you don't have to take each of those in that first year. You have to take one per year for the first 3 years. You don't have to take those in order. We've been constantly improving those. So it might be worth your while to come back if you haven't taken those for a while. And we're going to talk about where you can find those to attend a little bit later. So that is an expectation. And that's one thing, again, you got to get on the calendar. We offer those in the spring and in the fall. So the earlier you can get registered for those, the better likely you're going to be able to meet that particular requirement. Coordinate safety training and implement safety rules. For supervisors and employees, the safety coordinator will ensure that appropriate documentation is posted at or near sites that instruct injured employees how they should proceed in the event of an on-the-job incident. So reporting accidents, other safety rules. Those safety rules should not just be taken lightly. You should specifically have safety rules that fit the particular job. So if you've had a series of incidents, whatever that might be, they should reflect those. They should reflect different things within a particular department. Again, a lot of this stuff, you can kind of go through the motions and it's very difficult for us to manage, but we really expect you, in order to get those great results, to not just go through the motions, but to implement really hard work in implementing these particular initiatives. Coordinate safety inspections to help identify potential claim exposure. So what does an inspection process look like? Well, depending on how you want to do it, the expectation is you're going to do at least 2 inspections per year. They're going to cover your entire organization. In some buildings, you might just look at property issues. So you might have an abandoned building or some building. You're going to look at, are the exits clear? You're going to look at, is there any fire hazards? Do we have any electrical panels being blocked? Things of that effect. But other areas, you might look at specific, as we talked about before, specific issues that you had. Where have you had the injuries? Are they lifting too much? Are there ergonomic issues? Are there driving issues? Should you be inspecting motor vehicles? We have sample policies. We have sample templates used to conduct these inspections. I would think that you and your safety committee would do a great job of updating those based on your own organization, based on the hazards that exist and the incidents that have happened with your organization, to make it a more effective program. Ideally, if you have a lot of resources, you'd have a team, and you might have different people from each team maybe partner up and do inspections. And you might do that on a quarterly basis rather than every 6 months. It's a requirement for 6 months. I would really recommend you do it every quarter, and you're looking at different things. We can help you with that particular process, and actually your safety coordinator training will help you develop those particular programs. Again, coordinate departmental quarterly safety meetings. A minimum of 4 safety review meetings must be held each year with the department. In the 4th meeting has not taken place by the time of the safety discount is due, the meeting must be scheduled. So again, the expectation is you're going to have some way to share important safety related information to all your employees on a quarterly basis. And again, to me, this is a quarterly basis is great. You want to have a better program, I would do it on a monthly basis. You have the shared document that we send out that has safety information. You don't even have, you can just talk, what's going on, how are things going? This is an incident that's happened. Incidents happen here and incidents happen somewhere else. Talk about safety, but have your supervisor lead it. You can help work them through it. It's a great development opportunity. So where can I get templates? Okay, Pamela, can you give me, the sample templates for the inspection? Is that what you're talking about, Pamela? If you could respond there. Yeah, so if you want the inspection templates, we have those. I can send those to you. So you can just send me an email at dbeck@lgrms.com and I'll send you the templates that we have. Okay? Great question, though. Thank you. You get an A+, Pamela. Coordinate quarterly safety committee meetings to review all incidents and accidents, injury or property damage impacting employees of the organization and the general public. So the expectation is you're going to have a meeting with people, and ideally from different departments, maybe from different levels, maybe if several leaders, supervisors, or department managers, maybe some people from the front line participate in this meeting, and you're going to review incidents. And within those reviews, is there corrective action? Did we do a great job of investigating those things? Have we really identified the root cause? Did we put corrective action in place to address these particular root causes? Have the root causes been completed in a timely manner? Those are things that we would be looking for within those review. What we don't want to do is have an incident and nobody does anything about that. Because what does that say if one of your employees has an incident and you don't do anything, or if you have a motor vehicle incident and nothing is ever done about it? It tells your employees and everybody in your organization, we don't care. And I know you do care, and in order to share you so that you do care, you need to make sure you're doing your incident investigations, and then you're following up to ensure those incidents are being investigated in a timely and quality manner. Oops. So the following is just a timeline for the safety coordinator. So to me, if you're listening through this, this is a page within the brochure you should print out or cut out, and ultimately you should put these on your calendar and plan those. So in October, November, December, this is in 2023, the fourth quarter of 2023, conduct quarterly safety committee meeting to review incidents. So you should have that on your calendar. It should have been completed already. Direct quarterly departmental safety meetings. Again, provide that training to your departments and continue to work the existing safety action plan. So if again you've applied last year, you have a safety action plan from last year, you should continue to monitor that and see that that's being implemented. We'll talk about that a little bit more. Again, in this first quarter, so we still got March left. We're almost 1 day away from the end of February, so conduct quarterly safety meetings. You should schedule that on your calendar. When are you going to have that? What happens is, oh, we need to have that, and then you go to fill out the verification forms, and you'll say, did we do that? And you'll say, nope. Oh, God, we forgot it. Put it on your calendar now. Schedule people to get it done. If you don't have your calendar, it's not going to get done. Put it on other people's calendars. Start this process right now. Again, direct departmental safety meetings. Again, simple to do. All you have to do, the supervisor, whoever, needs to sit down and talk to their folks about safety. You can provide them a topic, but they should not just be talking about the topic. They should be talking about things that are happening in their specific department or other risks, near misses, whatever it might be. Get other people engaged, get people involved, get people talking, have a dialogue. Coordinate safety inspections with LGRMS risk control consultant. So again, that's the safety inspections. So if you need that template, send me. Register to attend the LGRMS safety coordinator module 1, 2, and 3. Again, we'll talk about where you can register for those a little bit later slides. Register an employee to attend LGMS regional training courses or equivalent. So one of the expectations is that you are going to either attend the regional training or an equivalent course. We'll talk about that. If you don't have that planned now, more than likely you're going to get to a point when it's the end of the year and you want to put in your application and you haven't met that requirement. And we're going to say, well, it's past the due date. Make sure you have that course scheduled. You're looking through it, and we'll talk about how you can do that in a few slides. During February, loss runs and loss analysis will be distributed by LGRMS. So I have sent every member on the ACCG work comp and property and liability side their loss analysis and loss runs associated with those. So everybody should have that at this point in time. Participate in the ACCG safety discount grant overview. If you're on here, you met that particular requirement. So congratulations. And create a new safety action plan for 2024. We'll talk about that. But you should put that on your calendar. April, May, and June 2024, kind of the same things. I won't read through those each again, but I will look at the new things on here. Ensure employees participate in LGMS regional training course. Again, remember to put it in there. Deadline, submit the safety action plan. So you got to send me that safety action plan by April 1st. Again, start date, submit safety grant application. So we're going to talk about the safety grant, but the earlier you get your application in, the more benefit it is to you. So you can get the items and get the reimbursement as quickly as possible. Wow, okay, we've got a woohoo, one down. So congratulations, Christina. I'm reading that right. Oops, if you sent a question and I didn't respond to it, please resubmit it. I just inadvertently deleted 2 questions, the woohoo, and I deleted the other one, so let me know. And then again, kind of the same stuff as we talked about before previously, but again, the deadline in the third quarter of 2024, deadline to submit your grant is August 30th. So put that deadline on your calendar. If you don't meet it then, it's too late. Again, submit your safety discount verification on August 1st through September 16th. Again, why do we have it August 1st through September 16th? Because if you haven't had that third quarter, you can't verify that you've done the things above. So we want you to verify those things. So don't turn those verification forms in until at least October or August 1st. Again, here's the employee from an organization must attend a minimum of 1 training session. So we're going to talk about where you can get this, and that's just a regional training. So you have to have a regional training event, and that's those are posted on our website. We'll talk about there. Or we would encourage you, and I would encourage you to actually do both. I'd encourage you to attend as many sessions as you can. We try to put quality training together for you that's going to help with multiple aspects of your job. So whether it's HR or whether it's contract law or whether it's law enforcement, we really encourage you to attend as much training as you want. We put a great deal of thought into this. We pay for speakers. We have to rent facilities, pay for food. So we'd love to have more people attend those. So, looking for something to do for a development perspective, please attend those trainings. You can also meet the requirements by having at least 1 employee complete the 3.5 or 4-hour crisis coordinator program. So I've sent that out multiple times. We're really trying to focus on law enforcement. So your sheriff's offices and your police departments, we really like them to go through it because that's where the vast majority of our crises are. And if they know how to communicate or what to do, what not to do, we're going to be much better off. But we'd like to see at least 1 person trained within the county and 1 person trained within your law enforcement groups. And that way we'd be better off. So if they do attend that, that meets that particular requirement. This is the LGRMS website that I'm talking about, and hopefully you've all seen this. If you look at the arrow, the red arrow, it's saying training event calendar. You don't have to get signed in. You don't even have to be signed up. You can just go on to this. And when you click on that, you'll see that the blue area is highlighted, the training event calendar. You can see all the upcoming training. This is law enforcement risk specialist, safety coordinator. Again, you can go down, it'll show different dates. This is by list, and it shows you, or you can do a calendar month. And I don't have the ability, but it'll show you the calendar of when these classes are going. It's constantly being updated, so you might not see all the training that we're offering for the year. Actually, you won't. We'll be offering, it'll be updated frequently. So you want to look for good training, I'd go up there, put it on your calendar to look at that training event calendar once a month. Do it at the end of the month and see if there's anything new that's been updated within that. We also send an email to everyone with upcoming regional training and links to register and upcoming webinars. And that was on that particular list too. Within the, again, members agree to cooperate and support the efforts of LGRMS, or Local Government Risk Management Services. So the expectation is when we come and we conduct a survey within your organization, we walk through your facilities, we review your policies, we're going to have recommendations. And those recommendations are going to be sent to you and those people that are appropriate within your organization. The expectation is that you are going to make a response to those recommendations within 90 days. You don't have to have those completed. We might have like 10 items on there. You don't have to have all of them completed, but if you plan to complete them, we'd like to know what your plan is to complete them. If you have an interim plan, we'd like to know what your interim plan is. If you have, if you don't plan to complete it, we'd like to know we don't have the resources or we're not able to complete that, because if that's the case, we might be able to help you complete those with some additional discussion. So here's a question from Tiffany, confirming you said you can take the training. I gotta put my glasses on here. Having a hard time reading. Confirming you said you can take the training 1, 2, and 3 out of order. You can take the training out of order. That is correct. Are the safety coordinator modules only provided in person? Yes, they are only in person. We did do them via webinar during COVID, but we're no longer. They're longer days. They're typically 3 or 4 hours, and we want to do those in person. Please remind the members not to use a 3-year loss analysis provided by the safety grant for their bid purposes. So actually, Dina, I provided within the loss analysis this year, it is a 5-year loss analysis, so they can use that, but they should actually, they should really, if they're looking for the loss analysis, are at a shot in time. If you're looking for that, members should request official loss runs from the insurance team. So if you need a loss run, we'll talk about that a little bit later. Request it from Dina or Ashley, or send it to the ACCG insurance email. Thank you for all your questions. Thank you for all your comments. The next one is regarding the members shall implement and oversee a drug-free workplace program to include, at a minimum, the drug-free workplace notice and a drug-free workplace policy. So both those policies and notices and sample substance abuse policy, other things, can be found at ACCG.org, insurance sample policies. Should be able to find those easily. Again, seatbelt policy, this is the same policy we've had for a long period of time, and you must have a policy, so and enforce that policy. So, here again, you can kind of go to go through the motions, and you can get a sample policy, and you say, hey, we have a seatbelt policy. The expectation is not that you have a seatbelt policy. The expectation is that you are enforcing people wearing seatbelts. This is a serious incident. We have a lot of motor vehicle incidents where people aren't wearing seatbelts that result in their serious harm. So ultimately, what we'd like to see is you have that seatbelt policy, that you train everybody on that seatbelt policy. So what does training mean? Well, it doesn't mean providing them a statement saying you must wear a seatbelt. You should tell them why it's important to you. You can combine it with other things, motor vehicle safety, but sit them down and say, why wearing it? Why is it important? Why should it be important to you? Why is it important to others? Why is it important to the organization? What's the impact to them? Show them examples, and we can help you with that training. And then ultimately enforce it. If you don't see people wearing their seatbelts, they should be held accountable. Now, that can be a reminder, a friendly reminder, but ultimately, if you're not willing to hold people accountable for failing to follow policy expectations, what does that say to your employees? I don't care. If you have a leader that drives up to a work site and is not wearing a seatbelt, what does that say to the employees? I don't care. Leaders have to follow the policies. Employees need to follow policies. There's a lot of way to implement that. We have seatbelt straps that make it easily identifiable. We can provide those with you. Let us know. We can provide you a link to get those. Let us know what we can do. So here's a question. Our safety and loss control manual addresses seatbelt use for and conveys the expectation all employees operate vehicles in accordance with all traffic laws. Is this sufficient for the seatbelt cell phone policy, or do we need to adopt? You don't need to adopt a separate policy if you have that language in your policy. But a policy alone, from my perspective, you should not be relying on a policy alone. You need to do the training, you need to enforce it, but that policy bill will meet that expectation. Good question. The cell phone policy, the same exact thing. We have the sample policies here. It's not just about the cell phone policy. It's really about communicating. For other members, we've done some cell phone training on distracted driving. There's using a cell phone, talking on a cell phone. I know when I'm talking to someone, I'm not even holding it. I'm talking to my wife. I'm going down the interstate. I know I've missed so many turnoffs where I should have turned off because I'm just not focused on the road. And then when you have it on your hand or you're texting, you're operating as if you were under the influence of alcohol. It's a dangerous way to drive. And again, you should have a policy on this. Georgia has a great law, but it should be enforced. Trained and enforced. The safety action plan, we're going to go through this process a little bit within the upcoming slides, but for the 2025 ACCG safety discount program, only one safety action plan will have to be submitted to meet the requirements regardless of whether membership. So if you're in both the IRMA and the work comp programs, you only have to have one action plan. We're going to talk about that, how that works a little bit later. If the sheriff or any other constitutional officer wants to develop a separate safety plan using the form on page 10, that is acceptable. So, we really want to encourage, typically, that's where a lot of our losses are within the sheriff's office. So if we can get them to participate in building an action plan, and the plan is quality plan, but they don't want to fill out our form, I think we'll be able to work with you on that. But ultimately, it's about getting them to participate in that process. So the more you can do, the better off. We're going to, again, I've sent you those loss analysis. If you go all the way down to the bottom of the page, kind of another reminder, once the safety action plan is completed and approved as required by the 2025 ACCG safety discount program, please submit a signed copy to Dan Beck, Director of LGRMS, at my email by April 1st, 2024. So I'm Dan Beck. My email's there. Send me that action plan by April 1st. Put that in your calendar or tickler file to remind you. This is the action plan. Again, same basic format that we've used for the last several years. And we're going to go through this. And I'm going to try and read some of this stuff here. What is the purpose of the safety action plan process? The ultimate purpose is multiple fold, but there's so many leaders that aren't aware where your losses are. this will make them look at where their losses are. It also will get them engaged in thinking about, wow, we need to really work on these particular things. We want them to take ownership. So, it's one thing from an action plan perspective, and we're going to talk about who owns that. You as a safety coordinator, we'd love to help you help us train people and get people engaged, but the ownership of these losses and the ownership of these actions to reduce those losses are the department managers and the leaders within your organization. Those are the people that own it. And that same person that directs people on a day-to-day basis to do their work also has the responsibility to direct them to do it in a less risky manner. Who develops the safety action plan? Again, we'll talk about that, but ultimately we'd like to see that developed at the department level, have department leaders own that process. As long as the department leaders assign somebody and then holding them responsible to develop and implement, I'd be okay with that. Where is the fillable safety action plan found? Again, you can find that at ACCG.org, as we talked about before. How does the member receive a loss trend analysis and why? So you should have all received the loss trend analysis this year. I sent that out to everyone, and we'll talk about that. How are the focus offices, departments identified? We're going to talk a little bit about that, but it's really twofold. One, where are the losses occurring? And when those losses occur, is that something that we can control? Is there a trend to control those things? So we'll look at that. We'll talk about that a little bit later. How are the loss members identified? Again, using the loss analysis, and we'll show you how to get there. How is the risk reduction goal set? We'll talk about this. It's a lot of different ways, but it's really based on your losses. And you're going to set a goal. You want something that's achievable and that's realistic. We'll talk about specifically how you can do that potentially within the example loss analysis. How is safety action plan developed to address those? We'll talk about that. Who needs to sign the safety action plan? This is important, so I'll talk about this a little bit more. So the sign of the action plan, it needs to be signed by the sheriff or the department, the managers or directors over that particular department. Why? Because they need to be aware of it. They need to take ownership of it. It is their action plan. And when does the safety action plan need to be completed? Again, it's really the plan will need to be completed by August or April 1st. So the plan we're looking for, the actual development of that plan or update of the plan needs to be sent to me by April 1st. But you're going to be working the plan all year. So some things might take longer. Some people, things you might be able to do within a quarter, and we're looking for you to update that continually. This is the workers' compensation loss analysis. And what this first slide or the first part of your report shows is the total number of claims and then the total claims dollars. So that's total incurred. So within this particular member, they had, and again, what you're going to be seeing is a 5-year loss analysis. Within that 5 years, this is 3 years, but within that, you'll see the 5-year, that's the total number of claims you've had. And then it's what they call total incurred. And that would be things that are paid plus reserved. So from a workers' compensation perspective, let's say that you had an employee that was injured and they went to the emergency room, and the emergency room cost, $15,000, and they have to get surgery, but they haven't had the surgery yet. So we got the bill for the emergency room. We paid the $15,000, but the surgery is reserved at $150,000. So you'd see that claim in there for that $165,000. The overall claims rate below is, so we take all your claims out of that 293, we take all those that are greater than $500. And the reason we do that, there are a lot of you that report every work comp reported issue, which I think is great, because the more data you report, the better it is. It's better for your employees, it's better for your organization. But if you have a lot of reported claims, I don't want to compare you to somebody that doesn't report anything in a timely manner. So this $500 really weeds out those non-issue claims within there. And then we basically take those number of claims divided by the number of years. So in this particular case, it's 3 years. We divide that by 3, and then we would divide it by that number by the number of employees you have. And this way it gives you a rate, so I can compare you versus other members. So you can look at this. The 3-year rate for this particular member is 3.47, and again, versus other large members that at 8. So you're doing pretty good, and that's a good thing. Here's a couple questions. Do our total number of claims include incident-only claims? Yes, it includes everything you've reported. But the rate does not include that. So great question. This is the next part of the report, and this is, again, work comp for the same area. As you can see, this goes to departments or offices, and the sheriff's office has $141,000, or 34% of your total incurred. So that's the high. They have 93 claims, or 32% of your claims for the group. So, typically sheriff's offices are about 33 to somewhere about 33%, 35% of the county's population. So that's pretty typical. Losses trend somewhere between, for their work comp, they usually have a little higher. They're around 40% typically on work comp of total incurred and or claims. On this, your fire department has 31% of your total incurred and 26%. So you kind of see within these departments, these top departments, this is where your losses are occurring. And this is where you need to start the investigation. So it doesn't necessarily mean these are bad people, because some of these things might not be trends, or there might be one claim that drives different things. But it's where you're going to look at things a little bit more in depth, and that's what we do. So here's a question. Is the workers' compensation loss analysis automatically sent out? So Michelle, if you have not received your workers' compensation loss analysis, you should send me an email at dbeck@lgrms.com, and I will send. Those have all been sent out. It was sent in a secured email because it included not only the loss analysis, but loss runs with names and other things. So from a confidentiality perspective, I sent those in a secured email. And what you would need to do is, in the email I sent you, you'll click on a link, and then there's a link there, and that will go to a web page, and then you'll click on another link, and that will give you a code, and then that code you can put in, and you'll be able to download the loss analysis that I've sent you. So then you're going to go to just the overall, and this provides kind of a look at overall claims by program. And the way to look at this, and then contact type. And program is kind of a big bucket, whereas contact type is a smaller section within each of the sections. So ergonomics has ergonomics lifting, it has ergonomics pushing, pulling, has ergonomics all kinds of different things. Law enforcement ops has law enforcement foot pursuits and law enforcement arrests and so on. Non-category, that's more of a kind of caught between or sharp object kind of thing. So you got lacerated or you got struck by something. Training and sports, that's an individual thing, and that really, we'll talk about that. Fire ops, there's a couple different things. You're lifting patients, you're pulling hoses, your fighting fires, those are all within the fire ops. And then motor vehicle, there's only one claim. We don't drill down to motor vehicle claims within workers' compensation, but we do that in property liability. So if you look at this, ergonomics is their biggest loss trend. So that's your strains and your sprains. Law enforcement ops at $95,000 or 23%. Your slips and falls and so on. And then if you go on to the contact type, so slips and falls, that's SF, same level, 75,000. So that's a subcategory of slips and falls, and that's where the vast majority of your slips are same level. And same level is just basically walking on the street, walking on the side, walking on something that you're not elevated, you're climbing stairs or something like that. Ergo, lifting, so that's part of ergonomics, that's a lifting thing. Law enforcement, foot pursuits, and law enforcement altercations, and so on. So you can kind of see how these things are going. So let's look at this is the sheriff's office by claims, and I'm going to kind of go through these. Looks like one of your biggest issues within the sheriff's office here is law enforcement ops. And if you look at that, arrest and altercation is a big thing. So you had 45 incidents at $47,000. So are altercations unusual or unique within sheriff's offices? No, but is that something we can help reduce? Yes. How can you reduce those? It's maybe something through de-escalation or training on verbal judo, whatever that might be. So they are trying to avoid those incidents, maybe partnering up with people, maybe doing some other procedures to help reduce our altercations. You know, again, I'm an old guy. I'd hate to be in law enforcement and have to get in a fight with people. It's a horrible situation. So, and then there's a massive risk there whenever people get in altercations, not only on a work comp, but also on a property and liability side. But then you look at this law enforcement pursuits, or foot pursuits. So we had 7 incidents where $47,000 where we were running after somebody and we injured ourselves. So is that something we can do? Those would be something that I would look at in regards to the sheriff's office for workers' compensation. That kind of gives you an idea of what we're looking at. Again, you're going to look at trends. Is it controllable? So if your sheriff tells you, go fly a kite, I'm not interested in, or I'm not interested in this, you know, it's not worth beating yourself up. Go to another department where you can make an impact. Focus on things that you can do and you can have an impact in regards to those things. So in this particular example, you could see the work comp, same county, they had, you know, over that 3 years, they had less than $500,000. For this same county, on the property and liability, they have less claims, 250, but they have almost $2.6 million in losses over those 3 years. So tremendous difference in regards to the losses there. And again, the same basic process for the overall rate that you look at. It's claims greater than $500 divided by the number of years divided by the number of employees. And then we'll go down to motor vehicles. So typically our biggest focus is law enforcement motor vehicle claims. So we look at the law enforcement motor vehicle claim rate. So we take those law enforcement motor vehicle claims, that includes liability, property, physical damage, all those things, and then we gather all those numbers greater than $500. We divide those by the number of years at 3, and then we divide it by the number of motor vehicles within law enforcement. So you can see here, their motor vehicle rate is a 4.8. And if you compare them against extra large, the overall extra large, and this is 676 employees, they're 2.96. So we're way over that rate. You know, the large, if it's between 400 and 675, we're at 5. We're a little better, but we still got opportunities. So that's something to look at. And again, you want more, we'll talk about how you can get better information. If you look at the specific data associated with it, again, you look at where are their losses, they're $2.6 million. Well, 1.7 million of their dollars is in the sheriff's office. So if I had workers' compensation and IRMA, and this was my claims report, I'd really be focusing on the IRMA claims, because that's where all my dollars are going to. That's where all my losses are. And within this, when you got something that says 65% of your losses are within one department or office, that's where I'm going to be spending most of my time to help that particular group. But also you got some water, wastewater stuff in here, and you get 19% of water, wastewater department, 18% of claims. So that might be something that you're looking at too. Again, this is just, again, it goes down from the program, as we talked about before, motor vehicles, general, and that's kind of general liability, property claims, so storms, fire, law enforcement ops, human resources, and then officer admitted. So if you got somebody does something in a board meeting or it's a zoning issue, it's going to go into that thing. But if you look at from a claims perspective, 41% of your total incurred and 4% of your claims, 10 claims, are related from pursuits. So that would be something that you might want to look at. And there's only one office, only one place that has pursuits. Again, the fixed object is a motor vehicle, so that's hitting fixed objects. That's related to motor vehicle. So what does that mean? That means more than likely if you're hitting a fixed object, you're not paying attention. You're distracted in some manner. You got water and sewer claims for $273,000. You have motor vehicle failed to stop or yield. That's $142,000. So another motor vehicle. Fire. That's a property related issue. And then rear-ended. That's a motor vehicle. Another $106,000. You got discrimination, and then law enforcement general. Those are all the big claims. And if, again, you look at the sheriff's office, it's pretty clear motor vehicles claims account for $1.6 million over that 3 years. Massive amount. And you can see all the losses, the vast majority of them are related to motor vehicle operation. So if I was going to focus in on, that's what I'd focus in on. And what I would do is, in this particular case, I would get the loss runs. And I would look at the loss runs. And one, make sure that the loss runs are accurate. Is the department assigned to within the loss run accurate? Because it's going to reflect exactly what I have on this chart. So it should be the same. Are the cause codes the same? If they are, then that should be that. If they're not, then we can update those and change those. And then you're going to look at the specific causes. And in this particular case, just because you had 10 claims for a pursuit doesn't mean you had 10 different incidents. So it could have each claim, or in each incident might have had 2 claims, or each incident might have had 3 claims, or so on, and a combination of those. So look how many specific incidents there are. And within this, we don't expect you to change world hunger in this, but if you can focus in, let's say you want to, and the sheriff wants to focus in on pursuits because that's where your losses are. Look at those. Call us. We can help you with this. Get down to the level, and maybe you'll identify 5 specific incidents over that period in time. And let's say you want to reduce that. You're not going to have any pursuit claims. So what are you going to do to resolve that? Let's say you're going to focus in on hitting fixed objects, which is really distracted driving. And you have, that's 4 incidents related to that. So what are you going to work on? Those are the things that we'd be looking at for you to do. How are you going to, based on your action plan, setting a goal, be as specific as possible. The bigger scope you have, the less likely you're going to be able to achieve that goal. really zero in on when your issues are. So you've seen both work comp and property related loss analysis. Okay, within that, the issue is that you got to decide. You might want to do one action plan or one loss analysis in the sheriff's office on motor vehicle operations. You might want to do another department on workers' compensation. So work it out. We'd be happy to help you in regards to that. But that's kind of an overview of that. I'm going to keep on going. This is an action plan. As you can see within your county action, we've got the sheriff's office there. You got motor vehicle operations, 95%, water, wastewater, 57%. And you can kind of go through and look at some of the actions I put in here as an example. Ultimately, you can't change behavior through training unless you have policy and leadership support. So if you put training, if we come out and do training for you in motor vehicle operations, if there's not a policy and leaders, and that means top leaders and mid-level leaders and frontline leaders aren't supporting those policies, then the training's not going to do much. So ultimately, it's good to have a policy before you start doing it. And then really, what can you do to make sure that policy is implemented and being managed? And we can help you with that also. The signature page, again, this is really important because if you don't sign it, you don't own it. We want the leader of each of these particular action plans, leader 1 and leader 2, to print their name and sign it and date it. And then whoever the top official or top manager, administrator to sign it and print it. This would say, ultimately, it says, hey, I own this. I know what the losses are. I know what we're doing to address these losses, and I am committed to implement these plans. That's what that's saying when they're signing it. Keep on going. Got a few more slides, and I apologize we're over, but we're going to run over. The following personnel administrative procedures are to be included during the employee orientation. Again, you got a panel of physicians. We have a template for that. We can give you that. We got to update that. The Bill of Rights, we can provide you that. That needs to be posted. And then the other policies that you have, we'll be looking for. And that's in your workers' compensation fund. You have to have a return to work policy. So regarding workers' compensation, people are always looking for ways to cut workers' compensation. The best thing you can do is return people to work as quickly as possible, as long as it does not hinder their recovery. The longer they sit out, the more likely they are never to return to their employment. So keep them returned, even if you can put them in a light duty position, sorting papers, doing inspections. They can do safety work, they can do inspections, they can do training, they can do all kinds of different things. Put them back to work, and they're going to be more likely to become valuable members of your team again. The safety grant, we're going to talk about this, great benefits. Again, the board agreed to provide $500,000 a year eligible fund members through 2024. And again, it's pretty easy to apply as long as you have been approved under the workers' compensation safety discount the previous year. You pretty much will meet the recommendations. We will go through a couple other things that you will need to do. This is the verification form. And again, fill this out and provide you a checklist of have you completed those particular items. Those are the things that you will need to do to be eligible for verification. Again, that is due between August 1st and September 16th. From a property and liability, the personal safety manual or personnel safety manual have to have all these particular items, same things we've had before. You have to do harassment training on an annual basis. So we do offer that training. Our folks' schedules are pretty tight, so we can't provide that to you every year. What we would suggest you do is potentially have us or somebody else come in and provide that on every 3 years. Do the online training one of those years, and then just review the policy with your folks another year. Talk about what is in your definition of harassment. How do they report that? What are the processes? Things to that effect. MVR reports, same process. Running MVR ensures that we don't have people driving that have been removed from their driver's license because of DUIs and other issues. Public transit service, we had a couple losses a few years back, massive $1 million losses. So we put these processes into place last year, or expectations. So maintain training documentation showing all transit drivers are current in the past driver training program, including hands-on wheelchair securement. So that's an expectation. Maintaining training documentation showing all drivers have annual hands-on training for wheelchair lifts and tie downs and passenger restraints. Maintain at least 6 months of documentation for all daily pre-shift inspections on tie downs and passenger restraints. And then a best practice, maintain at least 6 months of camera recordings of recording devices on the inside and outside of the transit vehicle. Again, if you're not able to do that, then we would expect you to keep and record and send to the claims group any reported or identified slip, trips, or falls, any reported or identified damage incidents to passenger vehicles, any reported identity altercations, and so on. So read through that. If you need help, let us know. We'll be able to assist you in implementing those programs. Also, within ACCG IRMA program, we require the sheriff's office to have these policies. So if the county is not managing their HR, then they have to have the hiring, termination, employee supervisor training, harassment, and EEC and non-discrimination programs, along with they need to have specifically motor vehicle operations, fleet policies. We have those, pursuit policies, use of force policies, arrest policies, and internal affairs. All those are required independently by the sheriff's office. Then the same thing within jails. They should have policies and programs on inmate medical, civil rights, emergency action planning, and suicide prevention. All big loss trends within our losses. And then the county jail facilities, which are operated by the sheriff's office, are to be staffed and accordingly in order to permit jailers and dispatchers to perform separate job duties. So the Sheriff's Association has an analysis report, and we recommend that you follow those staffing levels. We implemented this last year, and the premise behind this law enforcement risk specialist is really to ensure that we have a communication link within the sheriff's office and within your police departments, those that have those. And we historically have not had a great relationship. This is helping to do that. So we educate these LERS folks on what are the risks, what they can do. We give them resources, we give them support, and they will help communicate what their issues are and they'll help do programs, they'll talk to leadership that get engaged. They don't have to be the sheriff, but we'd like to see somebody in a leadership role identified as your law enforcement risk specialist. The LERS training, again, a lot of great feedback in regards to that. It's a 6-hour course. You can find that course on the LGRMS training event calendar they went through previously. And excuse me for going through this quickly, but trying to get done quickly. The local government risk management services, we offer regional training, focused training on site, online training, which you're attending today, webinars, and the online training, local GovU. We also offer some other online training. But if you're looking for details, we're going to be distributing, I think I distributed this map. It's an updated map based on LGRMS support. So each region, the northern region, eastern region, western, and southern, they each have a LGRMS risk consultant and then a law enforcement risk consultant. So if you're looking to ask a question on law enforcement, you would call that law enforcement person. If you're looking to call, you got a question on property or a general question, you'd call the risk consultant. But all that information is on one page versus two maps. Here's our brochure, and we'll be sending this out shortly. The reason I'm going through this, within this brochure, you'll be able to click on links that'll go to the regional training up and coming. You'll be able to go to local GovU, which is online training version. You can find out all the training we do on site by clicking that link. It talks about our shared documents. It talks about the services provided by law enforcement risk consultants. It talks about services provided by our overall risk consultants, Steve Shields and Vincent Scott and Chris Ryan and Weston Cox. So again, an important page to remember. Put this on your calendar. The safety action plan, no later than April 1st. The safety discount verification forms, no earlier than August 1st, no later than September 16th. So you might want to put a reminder on those particular dates. This is the safety grant program, and again, it's kind of the same as before. I'm going to go through this quickly in order to get done, but it's only for workers' compensation or GSI-WCF Employee Safety Grant Program members. It provides financial assistance to members for purposes of reducing employee injuries. The reason this was implemented is because the discount is great, and we'd love to be able to provide an incentive for members to do the things, the basic things we do, but we would like to give funding to the counties, to those safety committees and others, so they can have some power, so they can have some financial resources to meet some of the needs. So if you have an incident where maybe you need body armor for your law enforcement folks, or maybe you need a different personal protective equipment for other groups, or firefighter gear, whatever that might be, you would be able to give them the ability to decide on what they want and purchase these items. And I think it's a great benefit. Again, to apply for the grant, employee safety grant members must be an active member at the time of the distribution, must have earned the 2024 safety discount, and that's last year's discount, and or this year's discount, must be current in payment contributions. Again, it's based on your premium, so it's up to $10,000 all the way down to $500. If you want to reach out to me or somebody else, I can give you specifics on what your grant amount is. The grant fund will be distributed on a first come, first basis. So I would really highly suggest that you get your grant application as soon as it opens. It's pretty easy to do. And I'm going to read a question. Hi, Dan. Can we receive a copy of the presentation? Yes, I will be sending a copy of the presentation to everybody that registered for it. The purchase must be made prior to October 31st. So if you're going to apply for the grant, make sure you have this on your calendar. How do I know my premium or my grant reimbursement? Again, as I said, talk to me, talk to your insurance contact, send me an email. Requirements, you have to have a safety action plan. We want that sent in with your grant. So the same safety action plan you got for meeting your grant, your thing. And the reason we want the safety action plan, we really would like your items on the grant to look like the safety action plan, to address some of those issues within that plan. So if you want training, maybe you're getting outside training, maybe you're getting equipment to help you with items on that plan. And then SOPs and policies, if you are getting let's say respirators or anything, trenching, AEDs, we'd like to see a policy. And if you need policies, sample policies, let me know. Be happy to help you with those. Question, will there be additional training classes added through the year? Yes, there will be. There'll be multiple, they'll be coming up. So keep checking that site every month or so, and you'll see additional come up. Will classes that LGRMS host in-house count as another approved class? yes, if you host a class on a LGRMS approved topic, some of those, and you train all your employees, that will count as meeting that. I would still encourage you to attend the regional training though. This is a sample letter email of things that that Courtney Stepter, she'll review those initially and send you this if you are deficient before we can send you an approval letter. This is basically the process for the distribution of funds. You send in your application, the board will review that. Typically takes about 2 weeks or so. I'll send you an email back indicating the items that are approved. If not approved with submitted application, remember we'll purchase the items. So I would really suggest that prior to submitting, don't purchase your items if you want them reimbursed. I want to make sure, we'll talk about submitting the application, but don't purchase items until you get approval to do so by us. I can't guarantee that those items are going to be approved, and I hate to see you in a lurch. These are the list, and this will be coming out soon within the GMA grant or ACCG grant notice of pre-approved items. So it's broken down by different sections. So you got chemicals, electrical, general safety, high risk, law enforcement, and so on. And you can see pre-approved items. I won't read through that. This is an email, a sample email of a congratulations email. And you can see within the body of the email, it says the amount of $2,500 or the actual cost, if less, of the items, both. So I will list all the items that we've approved. It doesn't really make a difference how much those items are. If the items are approved, you can spend $2,500 on one item or distribute it, $50 each item. It doesn't make a difference. It's all about the total. We will not reimburse you more than that, but as long as the items are approved, you can mix and match as much as you'd like. Again, this is a proof of purchase reconciliation document. So when you receive that approval email, I'll send you a Excel worksheet with this. I would ask you to complete this, and the purpose behind this is sometimes people will send me 50 different proof of purchase documents, and they'll have things circled or not circled, and I don't know exactly what you're looking for. So the more information you can provide me with, hey, you're on invoice number 1. It says it's for $317.30, and it's a mask. That's what you would circle, and that's what you would put within there. You just label that as number 1 invoice. You just put a circle there, put the number, and that's how I know it's invoice number 1. So that just helps us get you the money quicker. This is the application, and again, I would highly recommend, well, let's go through this. I want to see the person that is the member name and the contact information, who we're going to contact in case we have questions. Make sure it's written clearly so I can read it. We want your email address. We want your phone number so we're able to contact if we do have any questions. Within the body of that particular application, you're going to have the items requested. So don't need to provide the brand or model number, really just general stuff. So if you can have an example, if you got body armor, you can just put body armor. You don't have to put Billy Bob's body armor on there. How will this item reduce the work comp risk? So we just want an explanation. You got a couple explanations there. So how will body armor help reduce? Well, it prevents people from being shot. When we have suffered a lot of losses, not only financially, but just personnel being lost. So that's something. Or motor vehicle training will help reduce the risk of motor vehicle incidents. All those things are important. And then estimated costs, provide your best guess of what the cost will be. Prices may vary, but you will be reimbursed based on the actual cost, not on the item, not on the cost that you estimated. So it's based on your proof of purchase. Item selection, ideally will follow your action plan. As I said before, the items you request, we'd like to see be related to your action plan. think big risk reduction. Again, you get, like, I get a pair of safety glasses here, I get this there. We want you to use this money really for big items to help reduce risk within your organization. What can I impact the most? Again, based on your purchase, what's the biggest impact you can have to reducing risk in your organization? Once approved, you can prioritize. So if you got a list of 45 items and we've approved all of those, you can pick the top 2 or top 5 that you want to purchase. So stick those all in. It's better to shoot for the sky and ask for all these different things and go and narrow it down than say, I want this item, and then come back and say, well, maybe you want these. You know, get a bunch of people. And then when you're looking for the items you want, get your safety committee involved, get departments involved, get them to take ownership. This is a great thing to get them engaged in the safety process. Again, really need to have the chairman or the manager sign this, and the purpose behind this signature is we don't want the police or the fire department to send in an application, your public works department to send an application. We want one application that covers everything, and that signature tells us that they've approved it and they approve of these particular items. And then the last piece, again, important dates. ACCG will begin accepting applications May 1st, and then until August 30th. All purchases are to be made in 2024, with invoices submitted no later than October 31st, 2024. We're recommending you purchase items after approval. Again, you submit all the applications to the same email address, accginsurance@accg.org. Originals are not necessary. You can use copies. The opportunity to receive these grant funds is just one of the many benefits of being a member of ACCG's Workers' Compensation Fund. Should you have questions about the grant, please contact Dan Beck, blah, 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 or Ashley Abercrombie at her contact information. So here's another question. Can we buy walkers for elderly because of our tag office is always in the way back of the building and they have problems walking? So this is a workers' compensation grant. So unless those elderly people are employees, I would say that probably would not work. So I'm sorry, if it's a property and liability grant where we're looking for IRMA, we might be able to look at those items. And again, I'm sorry, I got another meeting. We're done. Anybody else have any questions? I'm sorry I went over a lot of information to get through, went through it very quickly. So I want you to feel like you can contact me and call me if you go through this information and you still have questions. Just pick up the phone, send me an email, give me a call. Be happy to help you in any way I can. Anybody else have any questions or comments? Well, I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you all for attending, and thank you all for doing what you do on a day-to-day basis. Without you, without your leadership, without your support, we would be nowhere. So thank you for all the things you do on a daily basis. Please thank those people that are engaged in your safety and risk management process, and you have a safe and risk-free day.